Oh, hi folks, hope you're well. If not, get well soon. That's an order. Just make a quick adjustment here, please bear with me. There we are. I'm looking at you now. I can see your every move, you just don't know it. If only. This evening's video really is, it might come across as being a little selfish, self-centered, egotistical, you name it, we can be accused of it. But I'm talking to you. That's all, just only you. And assuming you've got all your marbles and you're not a raging psychopath, well, yeah, leave it at that. That means you won't be a politician or anything like that. Most politicians are kicking around an IQ of around about 130. That's being generous. Most policemen, senior police officers, have an IQ of about 155. That's pushing it a bit. The rest are plodders, if you were to do an IQ test on such people. So we're not exactly governed by the brightest, are we? If you look at the members of Houses of Parliament, if you must, their IQs ain't that big either. Their egos are big, but their IQs aren't. That's evident, quite evident. People like Jacob Rees-Mogg have an IQ of around about 170. He's worth talking to. Sad that he's a Conservative, of course, but there we are. They're all the same. Doesn't matter how you badge them. So, the topic for this evening really is look at the title. For further information, and please put your comments below. It's always very helpful to see what people are thinking. But I'm sure you're like me in many ways, but you've often thought, how is it that there's those that have and those that haven't? And it matters not about their personalities. Notwithstanding the idiots on TV and the media and this shit. But as a general rule, cut cross-section of people in this country, 95% of us are working class, that's without a doubt. And how is it that some of the biggest morons that I've ever met, and perhaps you, are living in the nice houses, driving the nice big flash cars, yada, yada, yada? How is it? What have they done? Nothing surprises me anymore. I'm at that age of being a cynic. Yes, nothing wrong with cynicism, folks. It's entirely true and worthy. Seems we're all moving towards a new dawn. Yes, world communism. That seems to be the case. Every part of advertising you ever see, if they can slip it in, the beginning of a new day, that's a euphemism for, yes, we know where we're going and we're pushing for it. World communism. That is the overall agenda. If you really want to know the lowdown on that stuff, watch Jordan Maxwell. But anyway, I digress. So we're talking about those that haves and those that haven't. There will always be those haves and those haven'ts, won't there? But the gap is widening. There is no longer a middle class, we know this. No more disposable income groups. We earn just above the revolution level. We can't earn that extra because overtime has gone down the toilet, salaries have gone down, people have become more competitive and willing to work for less. And here's the bummer, when you look at a lot of people, as I'm utterly surprised that people do charity work. I find it such an incredible altruistic behaviour. But majority of people doing charity work, there are two types. There are those who mean well and are absolutely bored shitless since they retired and need something to do. And yet there are a lot of people who are quite young and able-bodied and willing and have other jobs will actually do charity work as well. I'm a firm believer in a fair day's work, pay for a fair day's work. I don't personally believe that we should do anything without reward. It's not altruistic. There's nothing religious about being altruistic. You're not going to get smarty points to get into the gates of heaven quicker by doing smarty work, voluntary work. Who gives a shit, quite frankly? If you look at the charities that are making an absolute fortune, the scrounging bastards that they are, there are huge organisations behind many, many, many charities. Look at the British Cancer Foundation, another charity. Look at the Heart Foundation, another charity. Look at World Wildlife Fund charity. These are all super wealthy, managed by the super wealthy. In fact, I think it was the arsehole royal, Philip, who wants to come back as a virus to kill humanity if he's reincarnated. He's actually president of the World Wildlife Fund, yet he comes from a background of shooting big game. His ancestors and his family, and they're quite happy to shoot animals, yet here he is, the hypocritical shyster, going around the world shooting, and his relatives are as well, including Mummy and Mummy's relatives, shooting big game like rhinoceroses and elephants. Oh, it's all right, but he at least he's in a the charity. What an arse! It's staggering. And they put their names to these charities, folks, but they are abusers of such things, aren't they? Really, the truth be known. One of the biggest charities not to contribute to is the British, or the cancer foundations. Anything with the word charity or foundations, especially cancer, it's a little bit hypocritical when the governments of the world want to kill us off down to 500 million, and human beings are the biggest causes of cancer on one another. Bad human beings causing cancer on the goodies, or not so goodies, I suppose. But cancer's it's a virus, quite frankly. You can call it what you like, but it's a virus. And Royal Rife discovered, if you look in Royal, R-I-F-E, Rife, Royal as in, Rife, R-I-F-E, check out Royal Rife. And he discovered quite openly and proved that you can get rid of any cancer by finding out what vibration is on, man, because different cancers vibrate at different rates, just like human beings. I'm buzzing, man. And some people are really low vibration, duh. Other people, all over the place, a million miles an hour, they're running at a different vibration. But if they were both cancers jumping into a human body, they could both do destruction and death, couldn't they? In their own sweet way. One could be fast and furious death, and the other one could be a long, lingering, painful cancer death. But I think you get my point. Another thing is, that the Cancer Foundation makes millions upon millions upon millions out of people, and yet it doesn't help a bean. It doesn't help a bean, because they support pharmaceutical companies for a start. Oh yes, we must find a cure for this horrible disease called cancer. Well, there we are. We know what causes cancer. 5G will cause innumerable deaths when it comes along. See previous videos about that. That's not the way we roll, is it? Playing around with viruses like cancer, and yet there's a man-made virus. Very few people died of cancer. Historically, even in medieval times and counting backwards, it's a modern disease. What a surprise. Yes, well, it's the modern deviousness of modern human beings that's created a disease, that is destined to kill many, many more people, including babies and children and women. Such an insidious, evil, wicked hand that goes behind that little movement. So don't give me the I do a lot of work for charity. What do you want? A stupidity medal? My philosophy in life is You know, my time is my time. If you want me to spend my time, get that word, spend my time helping you out, you're going to spend your money and giving it to me, because there has to be a trade, doesn't there? I see no reason whatsoever, just looking for something, excuse me. I see no reason whatsoever to give my time away. During my working hours and my consultations, I get paid for my time. Okay, very often by people who can barely afford it, but I'm not a charity. And it's all very easy for me to go broke so they can stay as they are, but not at my expense, because this world, folks, is really hard. It is truly dog eat dog. I can't be that altruistic without running myself into the ground and being broke and hungry myself, just because someone else has an illness. And it's the same with lawyers. Oh, free legal aid, do me a favour. You know, somewhere, you know, these volunteers are getting remuneration in one form or another. It doesn't have to be cash, folks. It truly doesn't. Excuse me. And it's staggering that I see old people who really should be enjoying the fruits of their existence and the fruits of their efforts so far in life, stood behind a counter in a charity shop in a high street, doddering about, you know, putting old clothes on, you know, coat hangers and trying to figure out a till, pissing the people off who are waiting. Because the charities are taking money. And not every penny of what's taken in a charity shop gets given to the charity. Oh no, because there's an organisation behind that that's running the charity. I guarantee they're billing the charity. There's always somebody billing someone, isn't there? And yet they wouldn't have the money coming in if it wasn't for the volunteers. But somewhere, folks, somewhere, if you do your digging, you'll find that charities make an absolute bloody fortune on people's voluntary work and time. And then, oh, well, no, we don't pay our volunteers. That's why they're called volunteers. Yeah, but you pay the directors who run the charity. Oh, yes. Why? Because I'm at the front line dealing with all the shit that's coming and having to sort things out and put them on racks and hang them up for people to buy. That's my time too. Aren't I worth anything? Yeah, but you're a volunteer. You're a peasant. Brush it on the shoulders. But it's okay for the directors sitting there on the board of the charity that are taking a cut out of the profits, the cut of money that should be going to the victims of such events like contracting cancers, suffering leukemia. That's a cancer. That's a virus. Well, I rest my case on that one, you see, because what I've learned to do now, my motto is, if they take my time, bill them. That's all. Bill them. I can't afford to get emotional and attached and feel sympathy, okay? The only people I don't bill to use my services and my favours towards are my family, because that's what family is all about. Anyone else, bill them. Oh, hi mate, yeah, can you do us a favour? No, not really. I'm really, really busy. It's my time he's asking for, I can tell. Yeah, what? I don't know why I'm doing this. But they're on the phone, yeah? I'm just pretending I'm on the phone, yeah? Yeah, I need a hand to do this and yada, yada, yada. When is it? Tomorrow afternoon? No. Why not? Because I'm busy and I don't want to. Well, thanks a lot, mate. Well, it's okay. Well, don't thank me for nothing, but I'm not going to do it. Why don't you want to come and help me? It's not a fact, is that? Well, how much are you paying? Well, you're not paying anything. Well, piss off then. Pay me for my time. You see, there's so many people willing to use you. You have to say, no. No. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a lot, you see. I want you to come and help me do yada 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 in my house. It's going to take about an hour and a half. That's okay, it's 30 quid. That's cheap for me. 30 quid. What for? Well, you want my time. I've got to spend half of my day coming to help you do something that you've chosen to do. And now you're imposing on me giving you a hand. Well, don't rely on me giving you a hand. I'll give you a hand if you pay me. Because you're not paying for me. You're paying for my time. And you'll find that a lot of people, I cannot stand people who continually ask favours and favours and favours. But the moment you ask them, I would love to help you. Yeah, well, I've helped you 5 times in the last 2 months. I've asked you for one bit of help and you're busy. Well, F off then. That's it. Don't ask me anymore. And that's what I mean. I am zero tolerant now of spending time helping other people who turn out to be ingrates, and it's always, you'll find, one-way traffic. So I tend not to ask for favours. Okay, I don't. I would rather not humble myself. If my family can't help me, okay, and this is where it's at, maybe you haven't got family to turn to, I understand that, then you're going to have to seek the help of a professional. Or find some mug who's going to do it with you for nothing because they feel sorry for you. You know, you can put on the victim bit. I would, but I'm not strong enough to lift it on my own. It'll take a couple of minutes. Couple of minutes? Yeah, but you've got to go there. It's costing you money. Everybody thinks things are for nothing all the time, and yet you come to ask them for something. You would have thought that you're asking for their left testicle if it's a bloke, or their left breast if it's a woman. Well, Betty, come on, I've got the kids to look after. I really can't. Yeah, but look at what I've done for you in the past. And you find this with people, don't you? It's quite amazing. So I simply won't do favours for people. I won't, I feel like having a t-shirt. Please don't ask because the answer is no. That's simple. Have you got a brain? No. Yeah, you know what I mean. But don't ask and they won't be disappointed as far as I'm concerned. But I've only become like this of late because I've realised that there are takers and givers in the world. And it seems historically I've been surrounded by takers. And yet there comes a time in my life where I might have to ask a favour of somebody, and I'd rather not, because they create such a fuss about it. Oh, well, you know, I've got this happening. I've got my son's bringing his children down for the weekend and I haven't seen them in it. Listen, I've helped you out the crap so many times. I've lent you money. I've done this for you. I've done that for you. I've looked after you. I've put a couple of your relatives up in my house. I'm asking you for a favour. And you'll soon find who your friends are. For 2 ways. One is, will they do you a favour? And the other one is, do they ever do you any? Okay, and will they ever say no? You see, there are friends and there are friends, aren't there? I used to trying to figure out in my life, my Mac's slipping about, sorry. No, what's the difference between a friend and an acquaintance? Well, I've always found, to be honest with you, that I've got 5 friends throughout my whole life. I have. And as one falls out of favour, I put another one in its place until that one falls out of favour. It's the way I roll. I don't want too many friends. Okay? I got a great friend called Andy who I metal detect with. Okay? He's a special needs. He's a great guy. And I know he would give me his left testicle to help me out. Not that I ask him. You know, obviously I can't include my brothers because we'd all do favours for one another. One of them is a little bit suspect about dishing out favours without wanting a return. Can't blame him for that. He's a busy boy. But the friends I've accumulated, I'm really, really careful with selecting friends. Be careful who you call friends. Because an acquaintance is just someone you know, but you don't invest a lot of time and energy in maintaining their acquaintance. You can take them or leave them, but friends are special. And you should be wholly selective when deciding to add somebody to your friend group. Perhaps you can cope with 10 friends. I can't, but I can cope with 5. That's all my phone bill will cope with often, because we'll communicate quite regularly. And friends will do anything for each other. That's a definition of a friend. But as for government charities, forget it. Poppy appeal. How much of this money of the poppy appeal, the biggest scam in history, ever goes to the vets of the First World War and their families? Does it, El? It's a screaming scam. And even now for the Second World War vets, the poppies were supposed to be celebrating the end, I suppose, and acknowledging the sacrifices of those who fell in the poppy fields in France. And now they've extended it to another war, World War II, haven't they? For those who've fallen now. But it makes me want to throw up. It really does, when I see the Queenie and her brigade and all the sycophantic, parasitic Satanists queuing up behind the cenotaph every year to lay a wreath of poppies. Like Cameron with his poppies, Nick Clegg, and all these other arseholes who've never lifted a gun in their life, have never thought about being patriotic in their lives and going fighting for their country. Oh, dream on. And these arseholes are representing someone, the fallen. The Queenie never lifted a finger in bloody battle. She's not exactly going to jump on that horse of hers and go belting around, pulling a sword out on the front line in Afghanistan, is she? Not really. And she's laying a poppy. And it's like, well, you just don't know what's going on in her head. She's probably sitting there thinking, oh, for Christ's sake, hurry up. Dinner's nearly ready. Got to feed the corgis. Wonder how my shares are doing internationally, being one of the richest, the richest woman in the world, I think. Oh, yeah. Well, this is a hypocrisy that I can't cope with. Even sports people now have the temerity to turn up to a charity event, but they'll build a charity for turning up as an attraction to get more people there to beguile money out of their pockets. But the arsehole sports personality is going to turn up, or even failing DJs often turn up to these events, and they get paid for turning up, plus expenses for travel, of course. First class, British Rail, if there's, or a very nice Cadillac turns up and brings them. Chauffeur driven, of course. And they, God, guess who turned up to our charity event? Well, did they get paid to turn up? You wouldn't know, but they do. There we are. They'll write it off, and they'll claim it on their expenses. Yeah, and they'll put their expenses in. Attended charity event for the children's disability sports hockey teams or whatever. So now, folks, my advice to you is do nothing for anyone. Unless it's your family and you want to do it and you do it for nothing. It's like lending money to friends. That's the quickest way to create an enemy. I try not to lend money. I try not to borrow money. I've learnt that, but I don't. It's the quickest way to lose friends is lend them money. I'd rather, if I had the money spare, give them half of what they're asking for and say, look, I can't afford to give you it all, but I can afford to give you a little bit towards it. But it's a gift. A gift. Do not ever lend people money that you consider your friend. If they were a true friend to you, they wouldn't put you on the spot by asking. If they truly knew. Because they know they'll probably default on the repayment and then sacrifice the friendship to get out of paying you a bean unless you go around and beat their teeth in. And hopefully you won't come to that. Don't lend friends money. If you can't afford to lose it, don't lend it. And if you can't afford to give it, don't lend it. That's my advice. I tell that to my children. Well, adult children now who carry that forward into their lives. And here's the trick. Never a lender nor borrower be. If you can in life, you'll sleep better. And this often makes me laugh when you see people who look down on people who live in council houses you know, as peasants and working class and, you know, working in a local garage as a floor sweeper, but he's got a car's lass. And he's 2 up, 2 down, and he's got his couple of dogs, and he's happy, and he's got his couple of children, his wife. He ain't got a brass beam to rub together, you know, but then, you see, on a Sunday morning, you can sit down and read the newspaper or cut his grass or go out and play with his kids, and he's a happy soul. But compare that to the high-flying executive who's working 7 days a week, 23 hours a bloody day, can't have weekends off because he has to fly to Austria for some conference, and he'll be back late next Thursday. And who's got the better life? Come on, when you sit there and think about this, who's got the better life? It's the guy in the council house who's got the better life, because it matters not what you put over your head as long as you're warm and dry and comfortable and you've got enough food in your belly and you're healthy, relatively. At least it's not the guy in the council house that's having to get a heart attack by getting stressed out, having to wear a suit, to go to a bloody airport, to fly halfway across the world, to sit for 4 or 5 days in a stressful environment, putting on all the airs and graces, stuffing food in his face like it's going out of fashion. It's probably building up in his arteries. And he's going to get stressed because he misses the return flight to Zurich. And now he's going to have to wait another, maybe book into a hotel he doesn't want to stay in because he's missed the bloody flight, because the meeting went over. And all the time, the guy in the council house is watching football on the telly because that's what he wants to do. Where's our high-flying, highly paid executive? Who's got the better life? And this rapidly dawned on me. Folks, you're only here for a short time. Okay? My advice is do nothing for nothing. Work on the economy of effort in your life. You have a set amount of time, a set amount of energy. Okay, and what you do with your time is very, very, very important, because you can't replace time. If you can replace money, but you can't replace time. And yet we got time snatchers all around us. They want our time. They want our services. That means taking our time. But they don't want to give their time because it's theirs and it's precious. I haven't got time. But hang on. You want mine? No, no more. I've learnt. So neither a lender nor borrower be. Stop doing favours for nothing. Okay, and the quickest way to lose a friend is lend them money. Give them money and don't expect it back. But make sure it's the first and last time you ever do, and they're quite clear that it's the last time they'll ever ask you. But give them what you can afford to lose. If that's nothing, give them nothing and explain it to them. And if they're true friends, they wouldn't ask anyway, because that was just simply embarrasses you, and you wouldn't want to embarrass a friend, would you? No. You have to evaluate your life. You only have a set amount of hours in the day, and it's precious time, because that's the one thing that is running out of us, running out on us all the time. Like an egg timer, you turn it upside down. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And yet they want it for nothing, but they're going to bill other people for it. If you trace all the money or the time that has been stolen off everybody in the circle, while that money, the charity money, has eventually got to its final destination in a bank, the bank benefits, the people that do the charities are on a fixed salary, thanks very much, and a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of that money may go to the actual patients who are suffering from cancer or homelessness or whatever the charity is. I mean, it's a joke, isn't it? Save a dolphin. The World Wildlife Fund continually go on about the danger and horrible things happening to animals. Well, hang on. One of the most magnificent creatures on our planet, the flat one, by the way, is the dolphin. It's hyper intelligent. Its brain is bigger than ours. It can communicate. It actually loves its children. It plays with its children. It educates its child. And what do the Chinese do once every few years? They round them all up. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dolphins, and they whack their heads off to take their bodies and process them for their delicacies and their standard food, sushi. And there's disgusting photographs all over the internet about hundreds and hundreds of dolphin heads bobbing around the shores around Japan. It says it all to me. Where are the World Wildlife Fund then? This is a warm-blooded mammal, hyper-intelligent creature. Whales we continue to slaughter day in and day out and day in and day out. Magnificent creatures. For what? Oil. It's not so much the food, folks. It's the oil. As though we haven't got enough of that shit. I despair. So I have no problem saying no. I won't, I can't give you a hand. That'd be dishonest. I won't give you a hand because I am choosing to do with my time what I want to do, and I don't choose to spend because time is a currency like you cannot put a value on. I don't want to spend my time doing something for you. You can pay me for my time and I'll quite happily consider coming along to help you out, but I'm not doing it for nothing. You see, then it has a value. But things you give away, they don't have a value. Not to the people who receive them. And that's why they treat you with such contempt often. People get used and abused all the time on this world, and I'm not going to be a victim of that. So my closing statement, folks, is if you're asked to do something, ask them how long it's going to take. And say, well, you say it's going to take half an hour. Okay. Shinjitsu's 30 quid. What do you mean? Well, it's going to cost me 30 quid. It's going to cost you 30 quid for a hand. Yeah, but. There's no yeah buts about it. You're taking my time. Because the person asking and me, we've both got the same amount of time in a day, 24 hours. And he's expecting me to give him half of mine or some of mine. Forget it, sunshine. Not for nothing you won't. And it's lovely because once this word gets around, that's what you like and that's what you're prepared. Do you know what? Sometimes they say, yeah, okay, well, I'll give you something for your time. Thank you. And the other times, they don't ask. So I don't have to get this, spend my time for the benefit of others when there's no return in my investment of my time to me. I can spend my time with the ones I love or doing what I love to be doing. Remember that, folks. There's nout for nout. And you can't push a rope and you can't nail jelly to the wall. Remember those little sayings? They've been around a long time. There is nout for nout. And live by that philosophy and you won't go far wrong. Catch you tomorrow. Toodle pip.